I'm Victoria from Wellness Your Way. Have you ever opened the fridge and just stood there, staring, completely unsure of what you came for? Or sat down to start one task and then within seconds remembered 3 other things you need to do first? Or been mid-conversation and realised your mind's already jumped ahead to tomorrow's schedule? Most people assume that moments like this mean their memory's slipping. But in reality, it's usually something much simpler. Your conscious mind is trying to hold too much at once. The conscious mind, the bit that thinks it's in charge, the part that you use for reasoning and decision-making and focused attention, can only hold around 5 to 7 pieces of information at any one time. That's its natural design, 5 to 7. It was never built to manage constant notifications, endless mental to-do lists, and 3 timelines at once. Now think about a typical day. Emails, messages, appointments, conversations, family logistics, work demands, news headlines, planning dinner, remembering something from yesterday, anticipating something next week. Even when we look like we're sitting still, our brain is still juggling. And when we exceed that 5 to 7 capacity, something happens. Clarity drops, patience shortens, simple tasks feel heavier. We might describe ourselves as foggy, distracted, or overwhelmed. But here's the reassuring part. Your unconscious mind is not struggling in the same way. Your unconscious mind is extraordinary. It stores everything that you've ever seen, heard, touched, felt, tasted, and experienced. It runs your breathing and heartbeat, very helpful. It coordinates complex movements without you consciously thinking about them. It recognizes patterns and solves problems beneath awareness. It's the reason you can drive a familiar route without consciously calculating every turn. It's the reason that sometimes a solution just appears while you're out walking or showering. The unconscious is not the problem. The conscious mind being crowded is. And let's face it, modern life does not leave much space. We fill quiet moments with scrolling. We move from one task to the next without pause. We hold on to yesterday's conversations while worrying about tomorrow's commitments. And the brain begins to feel busy rather than clear. So what can we do? Well, first, we need to stop trying to think harder. Clarity doesn't come from pressure, it comes from space. And one of the simplest practices is just a brain dump. Take a notebook and write down everything that's in your head. Tasks, worries, reminders, unfinished conversations. Don't organise it. Don't solve it, just empty it out. When thoughts are written down, the brain no longer needs to keep rehearsing them to avoid forgetting. You can feel the relief almost immediately. Another practice that I teach almost all of my clients is something called clearing the now. Overwhelm often happens when we're holding multiple timelines at once. We're replaying something from yesterday, we're worrying about something next week, and trying to complete something today. Clearing now is simply sorting time. You consciously move any events back to the past that are already done. You move for anything that's in the future, forward into the future. And you keep only what you're doing right now in your awareness, nothing else. It sounds simple, but neurologically it's powerful. Because when the conscious mind stops juggling multiple timelines, the nervous system can settle. Stress reduces. Your focus can sharpen. And something interesting happens. The unconscious mind starts connecting information more easily. Have you ever noticed that your best ideas really arrive when you're trying to force them? They often appear in the shower or out for a walk. Or gardening, when you finally stop pushing. And that's because when the conscious mind is relaxed, the brain's integration networks can become active. The unconscious processes and connections in the background can come to the fore. Sometimes the most productive thing you can do is create mental space. And there's also very hopeful science behind this. The brain is not fixed. It can rewire itself at any age. This is called neuroplasticity. And every time you repeat a behaviour, you strengthen a neural pathway. So therefore you can choose what you strengthen. If you constantly multitask, you strengthen distraction. If you practice focused attention, you can strengthen concentration. If you rehearse stress responses, they become easier to trigger. If you practice calm breathing and grounded thinking, those pathways strengthen instead. Your brain adapts to what you practice. And this means mental clarity is not about personality, it's about patterns. And patterns can change. One of the most simple habits to experiment with is single tasking. Choose one task, just one. Set a timer for 20 minutes. Give it your full attention. No checking messages, no jumping between tabs. You may be surprised how much lighter your mind feels afterwards. We live in a culture that equates speed with success. But clarity often comes from slowing down. When your conscious mind becomes less crowded, decisions become simpler. Conversations feel calmer. Memory improves because attention is not divided. So if you've felt mentally foggy lately, it doesn't mean that something is wrong with you. It may simply mean your mind is full. So try writing things down. Sort out the past, the future, and the present. Protect your sleep. Move your body. Create small pockets of quiet without devices. These are not indulgences. They are neurological maintenance. Your unconscious mind is still incredibly capable. When you give it space, it works beautifully. Mental clarity is not about forcing yourself to think harder. It's about understanding how your brain naturally works and working with it.